Nostradamus warned of two paths, one for the awakened, one for the lost. Have you ever felt like the world is splitting not physically, but spiritually, as if some people are waking up to something deeper, while others seem to be falling further asleep? Centuries ago, the mysterious prophet Nostradamus wrote a warning, one that most have missed or misunderstood. He spoke not of fire and flood, but of a divide more subtle and more dangerous. A divide of awareness. One path leads to clarity, compassion, and inner truth. The other, to confusion, illusion, and a life lived on autopilot. Today, we explore that warning, not just as a prophecy, but as a mirror to the times we are living in right now. This isn't about fear, it's about recognition, because whether we realize it or not, we are already walking one of the two paths. So ask yourself, which one are you on? Number 1. The prophecy of the split. Hidden within the pages of Les Prophéties in century 6th, quatrain 8, Nostradamus wrote a cryptic verse that has long been overlooked or dismissed as poetic ambiguity. The great multitude will awaken, one part driven to light, one to blackened waters. Not all who see will see, and not all who sleep will stay asleep. Though scholars have debated its meaning for centuries, those attuned to deeper currents of truth see it for what it is, a warning not of a physical war, but of a profound metaphysical divide. This is not about nations or weapons. It's about a subtle but irreversible shift in human consciousness, a divergence of perception and vibration. Humanity, while still sharing the same physical world, is beginning to split across invisible lines, some rising into awareness and clarity, others sinking further into illusion and confusion. We are entering an age where people live side by side, yet occupy entirely different realities, not in space, but in frequency, not separated by borders, but by inner alignment. Nostradamus foresaw not just future events, but a future state where reality itself fractures, and individuals must choose their path through intention, vibration, and awareness. Number 2. The quiet fork in the road. The most important choices in life are rarely loud or dramatic. They often come quietly, almost invisibly, woven into the patterns of our everyday behavior. This great divide that Nostradamus spoke of doesn't begin with a thunderclap or some obvious catastrophic event. It begins in the smallest moments we usually overlook, checking our phones instead of checking in with ourselves, chasing the next distraction rather than sitting with discomfort, agreeing with something just to avoid conflict, or letting go of values little by little to fit in. These are what we might call the 1,000 quiet cuts that slowly shape the direction of our lives. Without realizing it, we're choosing a path not in grand cinematic ways, but through our habits, our attention, our repeated choices. And over time, these small decisions form a pattern that either leads us toward clarity and awakening or further into confusion and illusion. What's striking is that most people don't realize they're even on a path. They aren't making a deliberate decision to live unconsciously or to walk away from truth. They simply drift. Life gets busy. There are bills, family pressures, societal expectations, and countless distractions designed to keep us numbed out or disconnected. In this quiet fog, we start to settle. We stop asking deeper questions. We follow trends instead of wisdom. We become reactive rather than reflective. And all of this, silently, pulls us toward the path of the lost, not because we are bad or broken, but because we've forgotten how to stay awake. But here's the quiet miracle. We can begin to choose differently at any moment. Every small, conscious act, a pause before reacting, a few deep breaths before judging, choosing compassion instead of fear, becomes a turning point. The road toward awakening isn't flashy or reserved for saints. It's for ordinary people who decide, gently but firmly, to pay attention. In today's world, where noise and speed dominate, our greatest challenge is not surviving chaos but staying grounded in stillness. And yet, this is also our greatest opportunity. Because the fork in the road is not out there, it's here, now, in how we respond to this very moment. The invitation is simple but profound. Notice the direction you're drifting. If it's taking you away from peace, away from truth, you don't need to run, you only need to stop drifting and start choosing. Choose presence, choose honesty, choose compassion. And in doing so, you begin to walk the path of the awakened, step by mindful step, even if the world around you is asleep. Number 3. Signs of awakening and signs of being lost. There is a quiet moment in life, often subtle, often unspoken, when a person begins to feel that something about their world no longer fits. It's not dramatic, but it is deeply real, like a distant bell tolling in the heart. This is the first whisper of awakening. Those on this path may struggle to articulate what is happening, but they feel a kind of spiritual restlessness, as if the life they've known is no longer enough. Things they once ignored now draw their attention. Patterns in society, repeated coincidences that seem too purposeful, or a sudden change in how they experience time, where hours stretch or collapse in ways that feel uncanny. These aren't mere tricks of the mind, they are gentle nudges from something greater, calling the soul back to its truth. The world, once firm and familiar, begins to appear more like a dream or illusion. What once seemed solid career paths, media narratives, social expectations now feels like a carefully crafted mask. And as that mask slips, so too may the connection to others. This awakening, while powerful, is often lonely. The awakened may feel a sense of being emotionally distant from family, friends, or society, not out of superiority, but because their awareness no longer fits into the old framework. It's not a rejection of the world, but a pulling away from illusions. As the Buddha said, just as a candle cannot burn without fire, men cannot live without a spiritual life. Awakening does not guarantee clarity or peace right away. It brings confusion, longing, and sometimes sorrow. But it also opens the door to a deeper love, a higher wisdom, and a more compassionate view of life itself. In this age of endless distractions, to feel such discontent is not a problem, it is a signal that you are alive in a much deeper way. On the other path are those often referred to as the lost, not because they lack intelligence or goodness, but because they are caught in the haze of a world designed to keep them comfortably numb. The lost are not bad people. They are simply asleep at a time when wakefulness is needed most. Their lives are full, perhaps even successful by conventional standards, but beneath the surface there is a quiet emptiness. Modern life surrounds them with constant stimulation, scrolling news, curated social media, binge-worthy entertainment, and the pursuit of more money, more attention, more validation. It is not wrong to enjoy comfort, but when comfort becomes a cage, something sacred is forgotten. They may never stop to ask, "Why am I doing this?" or "Who am I without all of this noise?" Because the systems around them reward distraction and discourage questioning. As Lao Tzu once said, "To know that you do not know is the best. To pretend to know when you do not know is a disease." The lost are not choosing blindness, they've been trained to avoid the discomfort of seeing. They are shaped by advertisements, politics, societal pressures, even fears passed down through generations. And so, with eyes wide open, they walk paths never chosen from the heart, but handed to them like scripts to be memorized. Yet even among the lost, the call to awaken never fully disappears. It may arrive in a moment of stillness, during suffering, or even in the face of beauty, anything that cracks the surface. The journey between being lost and being awake is not a judgment. It is a movement of the soul, and everyone walks it in their own time. In modern life, where distractions are packaged as pleasures and silence is rare, we must make a conscious effort to return to ourselves. To the awakened, know that your discomfort is sacred. It is a seed of transformation. Walk gently with yourself, and remember that awakening is not about being better than others, but about seeing more clearly and choosing compassion. To the lost, understand that you are not broken. You are simply distant from your own truth, and that can always be remembered. As the Dalai Lama wisely said, "The purpose of our lives is to be happy, and true happiness is not found in what we consume or control, but in how deeply we connect to ourselves, to others, and to something greater than all of us." In a world of noise, clarity is a radical act. In a world of fear, compassion is strength, and whether you are awakening or still wandering, the most important step is always the next one taken in awareness. If you've made it this far, you're already walking the path of the awakened. Comment below with "Awakened Journey" to affirm your choice to seek truth and clarity in uncertain times. Don't click away, there's still powerful insight ahead that could shift the way you see the world. Stay until the end to discover which path you're truly on and how to walk it with purpose. Number 4. The war of energy and the deception of false light. Let me share something that's happening all around you, often unnoticed. There's a war being fought not with weapons, but with energy, with vibration, with the subtle power of influence. This war is targeting something far more valuable than land or money. It's after your mind, your awareness, your inner clarity. Have you felt it? The constant noise, the overwhelming pressure, the emotional chaos from your phone, the news, the endless scrolling. This isn't just modern life, it's what many call a frequency war, a hidden battle where the goal is to keep you distracted, anxious, and divided. When you're constantly bombarded with fear, with conflict, with emotional overload, it becomes difficult to hear that soft, quiet voice inside you, that voice of your inner truth, your intuition. Instead of clarity, we're given confusion. Instead of peace, we're handed stimulation. This is not an accident, it's a design. The systems that were meant to connect us are now the very forces pulling us apart from ourselves. But the deception goes deeper still. Because once you begin to wake up, to feel that there's something more beyond the noise, something sacred, something real, you're met with something even trickier to navigate, the false light. And this may be the most dangerous trap of all. It wears the clothes of healing, it speaks the words of awakening, it looks like it's guiding you toward freedom. But in truth, it's just another layer of the same illusion. This false light doesn't lead you out of the matrix, it simply makes your cage look more spiritual. It gives comfort without challenge, unity without inner growth, and peace without the hard, raw transformation that true awakening demands. Have you ever followed a message or a teacher that made you feel good, but deep down left you unchanged? That's the false light. It soothes, but doesn't liberate. It tells you what you want to hear, not what your soul needs to grow. This is why discernment is not optional, it's essential, because not everything that glows is true light. Not everything that calms you is leading you home. Some energies, some teachings are crafted not to free your spirit, but to keep it comfortably asleep. True awakening, it's not soft and pretty. It doesn't stroke your ego or promise an easy road. It asks for your courage. It asks you to see through illusion, even when it looks beautiful. It demands that you look within, to confront your own shadows, to feel deeply, to transform honestly. Are you willing to look past the surface of what shines and ask, is this really freeing me, or is it just keeping me still? In this war of energy, in a world filled with glittering distractions and comforting lies, the real path isn't always the one that looks the brightest. It's the one that reveals. It's the one that peels back the layers. It's the one that shakes you before it settles you. This is the journey of the awakened, to choose truth over comfort, growth over ease, and clarity over illusion. So ask yourself not just once, but often, is what I'm following helping me evolve here, just helping me cope? Because this question may be the compass that leads you toward your true path. Lesson to carry with you. Not everything that appears to guide you is leading you to truth. Cultivate discernment. Real growth comes from discomfort, from challenge, from self-honesty. In a world of noise, find stillness. In a world of false lights, seek the light that reveals. That is where freedom begins. Number 5. Fractured reality, multidimensional truth. Let me speak to you directly, heart to heart, because this message isn't just a reflection of ancient prophecy, it's a mirror held up to the world you live in today. Nostradamus once wrote, "The world shall be one, yet seen as two," and while it may sound cryptic, it's deeply relevant now more than ever. You and someone else can witness the same event, stand side by side, and still walk away feeling like you experienced completely different realities. And this isn't just about opinions anymore. This is about perception, about how our inner state shapes what we see. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why does the world feel so divided, even when we're all in it together? What we're living through isn't just political tension or social confusion, it's a deep, energetic shift in consciousness, a split in how reality is experienced. Buddhism teaches that with our thoughts, we make the world. And now, science and spirituality both echo this truth. What you believe, what you fear, what you love, all of that creates a filter, a lens through which your world is formed. For those who are awakening, life starts to feel interconnected, full of signs, synchronicities, and deeper purpose. It's not that pain or struggle disappears, it's that even those become part of something sacred, something meaningful. But for those who are still trapped in confusion, fear, or manipulation, the same world can feel cold, chaotic, or artificial. So you see, it's not the world itself that's split in, it's the experience of the world, shaped by our vibration, our clarity, and our intention. We're no longer just watching life happen, we're participating in it with every thought, emotion, and belief we carry. That's what makes reality feel so fractured now. It's responding to the different frequencies we all emit. Like tuning into a radio station, your inner world is dialing you into a version of life that matches what you hold inside. The question is, which frequency are you tuning into? Are you aligning with peace, with wisdom, with compassion, or are you stuck in fear, resistance, and blame? As the Buddha once said, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. There is no single solid truth anymore. There are layers of truths, unfolding for each of us depending on where we are in our own journey. Rather than trying to prove whose truth is more correct, maybe the wiser path is to understand why we're seeing things so differently. Can you allow space for that reflection? Can you pause and ask, not who is right, but what is this showing me about myself? This isn't about being better or more awakened than someone else, it's about recognizing that reality is responding to your inner world, moment by moment. And once you realize that, you're no longer just a passive observer, you become a conscious co-creator of your own path. So, I'll leave you with this gentle question to hold in your heart. What version of the world do you want to live in? And what must shift within you to get there? Number 6. The children of the second dawn. You've probably noticed some children today seem different, like they carry something deep inside that doesn't quite match the world around them. Maybe you've met one, or maybe you are one. They don't speak louder than others, but somehow they feel louder, like their presence ripples into a room without saying a word. These are the children of the second dawn souls who've arrived not to fix the old ways, but to usher in something entirely new. Nostradamus once spoke of two paths, one for those who remain asleep to the truth of change, and one for the awakened who see beyond the surface. The children of the second dawn walk that second path. They are here to awaken others not with force, but with feeling, insight, and the silent power of compassion. You may have noticed how many of these children seem strangely wise for their age. They often say things that feel ancient, even though they're young. They feel things deeply, sometimes too deeply, and this world, with all its noise and disconnection, often overwhelms them. What society calls too sensitive is actually a fine-tuned awareness, a radar for truth and suffering that the world has forgotten how to read. And yet, instead of being celebrated, these children are too often labeled autistic, anxious, distracted. But what if these so-called disorders are actually signs of evolution? These children are already looking inward. They don't need fixing, they need understanding. Their purpose is not to fit into the mold of the world as it is, but to reshape it into what it could be. Like bridges between the old and the new, they see the cracks in our systems, the places where humanity has lost its way. They carry an intuitive sense of justice, a longing for unity, and a subtle awareness of interconnectedness. If you've ever felt like your heart breaks at things others overlook, like a tree being cut down, a stranger's loneliness, or the cruelty of greed, you may be one of them. Or maybe your child is. This awareness is not a weakness. It is a signpost pointing toward a greater truth. The world is shifting, and these souls are here to help guide it. But the path isn't easy. Isolation, rejection, and confusion are common companions for the children of the second dawn. That's why those of us who have already begun to wake up must stand beside them. Not to control, but to support. Not to lead, but to walk with them. How can we create space for them to thrive, rather than survive? What would change in our communities, schools, and families if we recognize their sensitivities not as problems, but as profound gifts? As Thich Nhat Hanh said, "The way out is in." The answer to this transformation won't come from politics or power. It will come from deep listening, from stillness, and from choosing compassion over fear. These children carry that wisdom naturally, and so we must ask ourselves, are we ready to hear what they're silently trying to tell us? If you are one of these souls, or you love someone who is, know this: you are not alone. Your difference is not your defect, it is your design. Your empathy is not your curse, it is your calling. You are not waiting for the future. You are the shift already happening. And so I ask you, will you embrace this path of awakening, or will you continue down the road of forgetting? The world is not just watching, it's waiting. If you're still watching, you already sense that the world is shifting. This is your invitation to step onto the path of awareness. Type "I choose light" in the comments if you're ready to walk with intention, not fear. The most revealing part is still to come. Stay with us as we explore what Nostradamus truly saw for our future. Number 7. The Silent Guardians, Soul Isolation and Connection. Across the quiet corners of this world, where the noise of ego fades and the soul listens deeply, dwell a group of extraordinary beings hidden in plain sight. They are not marked by titles, wealth, or influence, but by something subtler: an inner stillness, a gentle clarity, a resonance that touches the unseen. These are the gatekeepers. Artists whose brushstrokes whisper ancient truths, healers who offer touch as prayer, teachers whose wisdom shines more in silence than in speech, wanderers who carry light into forgotten places. They are the silent guardians, not here to lead through dominance, but to guide through presence. Their work is not in shouting change, but in being, the change authentic, grounded, and awake. Like still candles in a storm, they hold open the door to awakening for others, expecting nothing in return. You might pass them in a crowd and not notice, yet something within you might stir a brief sense of warmth, a fleeting moment of peace, because truth, when embodied, doesn't require a microphone. And yet, for all their quiet power, these guardians often walk a lonely road. The more one awakens, the more one seasoned what is seen cannot be unseen. While others busy themselves in surface matters, the awakened carry the weight of deeper knowing. This can feel like a great silence in the soul, especially when surrounded by those who do not yet understand. Friendships may fade, conversations may feel hollow, the heart may ache with a strange kind of distensive feeling of being everywhere and nowhere at once. This soul-level solitude is not punishment, it is refinement. As the Buddha once said, the root of suffering is attachment, and perhaps the solitude of the awakened is nature's way of helping them detach from illusions so that they may more deeply connect with truth. But take heart for this, perceived isolation is the last illusion. In reality, the awakened are part of an immense, living Weber sacred frequency that pulses quietly through the earth, connecting souls across time and distance. This invisible network is not formed by who you know, but by how you live. Every honest word spoken, every act of compassion offered in silence, every time you choose peace over reaction, you send a vibration through this grid, strengthening the whole. You are never as alone as you feel. As the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh once said, we are here to awaken from the illusion of our separateness. Each awakened being is a node of light in this global constellation, glowing quietly, guiding others not with noise, but with presence. So if you find yourself walking a path that feels solitary, misunderstood, or unseen, know this: your presence is not small, it is sacred. You were not placed here to abandon the world, but to help it remember what it has forgotten. In a time when many are lost in distraction and illusion, the steady flame of your awareness is needed more than ever. When you listen deeply, act kindly, speak truthfully, and live with integrity, you are doing the work of a gatekeeper. You are restoring balance. You are a bridge between the seen and the unseen. And yes, there will be moments of doubt, of weariness, but do not mistake solitude for separation. You are surrounded by a silent army of the awakened souls like yours who are walking the same road. Some you will meet, many you will not. But together, you form the hidden scaffolding of a new dawn. As Nostradamus foresaw, the sun shall rise through the eyes of the few, and through them warm the eyes of the many. Let that reminder sink in, not to inflate the ego, but to awaken the heart. You are the few, and what you hold matters. In today's world, where chaos often seems louder than calm and division seems to reign, this quiet presence of truth is a revolution in itself. To those who feel they are fading in the noise, remember this: the most powerful waves move beneath the surface. You don't need to be seen to matter. You only need to stay true to who you are. As the Dhammapada teaches, just as a solid rock is not shaken by the storm, even so the wise are not affected by praise or blame. Hold your ground in stillness. And in doing so, you become not only a guardian of light, but a living reminder that even in silence, the soul speaks. Number 8. The collapse of the old world, the rise of truth. Nostradamus often spoke in riddles, visions, and metaphors, yet hidden within his words is a message that rings loud and clear for those willing to see with more than just their eyes. He did not predict a fiery end to the world, but something far more profound and subtly whirled, slowly unraveling not from destruction, but from revelation. He saw a time when the veil of illusion would be lifted, when the false foundations of our society would no longer be able to carry the weight of their own deception. Cities may tremble, economies may falter, and long-standing systems may begin to crumble not as punishment, but as a necessary clearing. The world isn't ending, it's waking up. And this shift, this collapse of the old world, will feel very different depending on where you stand. For those still deeply attached to the old ways, those driven by fear, control, and illusion, it will feel like everything is falling apart. To them, the headlines scream doom, the changes seem cruel, and the uncertainty unbearable. But for those who are beginning to awaken, those who have started to question what they've been taught and feel a deeper truth stirring within them, this unraveling is not a tragedy, it's a rebirth. This is not the death of the world, it is the death of deception. This powerful statement from the original reminds us that what we are witnessing is not an ending, but a transformation. So let me ask you, are you holding on to the crumbling walls of illusion, or are you opening your heart to the truth that's rising? You see, the systems we've long relied on, whether political, financial, educational, or even religious, many of them were built not on truth, but on manipulation and control. They were designed to keep people small, fearful, and obedient. But now, the energy of the world is shifting. That which is false can no longer sustain itself. Lies collapse under their own weight, and the longer we cling to them, the more painful the process becomes. But when we let go, we choose to see clearly. The fog begins to lift, and what once looked like chaos begins to make sense. The confusion transforms into clarity, the fear turns into freedom. There's no denying that this journey can be painful. When we realize the stories we've believed all our lives were not entirely true, there's a deep sense of loss. It can feel like the ground beneath us is breaking open. But what if, instead of falling, you're actually being invited to rise? What if everything that's crumbling around you is not a curse, but a clearing? Can you see how the collapse of the old is actually creating space for something new, something honest, something real, something in alignment with who we truly are? This isn't about choosing a side or being right. It's about tuning into your own inner compass. Are you sensing the changes? Do you feel the pull to live with more authenticity, more compassion, more courage? The awakened don't just see the collapse, they feel it as an invitation to step into a new way of being. They breathe more deeply, their hearts beat more freely, because they know that the world isn't dying, it's healing. And so, as we navigate this time of great transition, let's not be afraid of the unraveling. Let's ask ourselves instead, what illusions am I ready to let go of? What truth is waiting to rise in me? Because when we face truth, even when it shakes, use it, sets us free. And freedom, real freedom, comes not from holding everything together, but from being willing to let go of what no longer serves. That is the path of awakening. That is the journey we are all being called to walk. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Don't fear the collapse. Welcome the truth. In times of great change, you are either clinging to what's falling or aligning with what's rising. Choose the path of the awakened, rooted in clarity, courage, and love. Let the old fall away so the new can rise within you. Ket by. And so, as Nostradamus foresaw, we now stand at a quiet but powerful crossroads, two paths unfolding before us, one shaped by illusion, the other by awakening. The choice is not made once, but in every moment, in how we think, how we feel, how we respond to the world. Whether we rise or remain lost is not written in prophecy, it's written in presence. If this message spoke to something within you, I invite you to walk with us. Please like this video, share it with those who may need to hear it, and subscribe to The Journey of Wisdom. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming explorations into the deeper truths of life. Until next time, stay awake, stay kind, and remember, the path is not out there, it's within you.